And welcome into another episode of Tiger Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network, a Sports Podcast. I'm your host, with me, as always, is a man who had T Swift's latest album shipped to the press box so he can multitask today. A beautiful day for baseball fans and Swifties alike. He's Cody Stavenhagen. How you doing?
Didn't have it physically shipped, but I listened to it about 3 times on the plane. So thank God for Delta Wi-Fi. Made the flying experience much better.
That's right. And yeah, that wasn't a flight to Detroit. That was a flight to Seattle. If you guys follow us on YouTube, you can see that Cody looks like he's in a team store. There might be some people walking around. We'll do our best to keep the distractions to a minimum, but our man's on the road, and that's good because he's there and able to report and give us the latest information, and we appreciate that from you, Cody. So let's just dive right in. The Tigers, as you are in Seattle. Had workout today. Had some players that looking like maybe they might come back, maybe not. What can you just empty the notebook for us? What do you have being there right on DSE in Seattle?
Mostly a lot of uncertainty, but Matt Vierling is in the building. Bailey Horn has returned from the dreaded option cycle and is in the building. Tigers don't have to set their roster until 10 a.m. On Saturday, so no decisions have been made. Matt Vierling and Colt Keith both hit live batting practice. Talked to Colt a little bit. He has acted like he's feeling good, feeling close, but I'm not sure he's going to be 100%. He's still it's like a pain tolerance thing, as I understand it. Watching Colt swing, Paul Sewald and Chris Paddock both threw. He looked pretty good, man. He looked pretty regular to me. Vierling, I don't know. It's just my observation. He looked a little more maybe unnatural or just rusty in the box. He's missed a lot of time, so that would add up. I don't know, what will ultimately factor in the Tigers' decisions. Colt Keith was out doing some base running work as well. Seemed to get a pretty good high five from AJ Hinch at the end, which I feel like was an optimistic high five if you want to read into things. So I'll be curious. Just if I had to guess, I'd lean toward Colt, seeming like he's a little closer than Vierling, but they both seem like real candidates to get on this roster. And then it's, who would you take off? Would you swap Trey Sweeney for Colt Keith? That would seem to make sense. Maybe if you were to put in Vierling, is it Justin Henry Malloy goes down? Could there be a surprise? Could it be someone like Andy Ibanez, who's been struggling if you did want to put Vierling on this roster? I think the fact it's a 5-game series could make a difference because you're not just thinking tomorrow. You're thinking 3, 4, 5 days from now, is Colt going to be closer to 100%? Is Vierling going to be closer to 100%? Do you just want them maybe to not play a full game but available in case the situation calls for it? That's kind of what they have to weigh. And then Horn's an interesting decision too. Would they finally go carry 3 lefties? I don't know. AJ Hinch did say he thinks they're going to stick with the 12 pitcher, 14 position player setup. Brendan Hanafy can also be activated. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Hanafy is on the roster over someone like Sewald. I'd be very surprised. I don't think Sewald's going to be on this roster. Will it be Hanafy or Horn, or could they both get on? I think that would kind of be the real question there.
The high five thing is just like playing in my head. It's like that's the Cody Stavenhagen special right there. I got the little things that could be big things. I love that. There's no doubt that 9:59 will be when this roster is finalized tomorrow morning. They're not joking when they say they're going to take it to the furthest extent that they can. It seems to me that if Colt looks okay, and it's a pain tolerance thing, that to me feels worth it to have him as an option off the bench. I'm not
Yeah,
an
is he okay enough to, hit Munoz in the 9th inning? Like, that's the question. Where is that line between he can still get it done or he's limited to the point it's not worth carrying him? I don't know how you determine that. That can be a hard call to make.
Yeah, and I know it's Minnesota, or not Minnesota. I know it's Cleveland. I know it's it's a 3-game series. Really, it's not like AJ emptied the clip in terms of usage of pinch runners or pinch hitters. So like that to me screams like
That's
it might be worth it just to have a little bit more upside option if you can if he manage.
Yeah, if you're not using your full roster anyway, which Tigers pride themselves on using the full roster. They haven't really done that as of late. You're not feeling real psyched about getting Trey Sweeney in the game. So I do think that's an argument that bodes in Colt Keith's favor, and we'll see about Vierling as well.
So speaking of maybe not in the most enthusiastic of reactions, Troy Melton will be starting on Saturday. Obviously, his outing, I'm trying to pull up the specific statistics right now. His outing, he was only managed to get one out while allowing four runs on 3 hits. All of them earned. He did also walk a guy. If you were curious what his ERA is in this postseason career, it's 108. It's not 1.08. It's 108. So not great, but he has a chance to rectify it. He can maybe be in a more natural situation. This is another one of those AJ big brain things where it's like, I know what happened last time we saw him, but this makes sense, and we have to stick to the formula.
I'm surprised people seem to have a negative reaction to Troy Melton getting this start. Melton's been the guy people have wanted to see on the mound for a long time, and he had one poor outing, and now seems like everyone wanted Cater Montero, I guess. Melton only threw 14 pitches, so he should be plenty fresh. I don't know how well he will fare, but I think he's the right guy. I think he has the highest upside. I like, other than the obvious. Is there a pitcher better than him on this roster? I'm not sure. And I do think him being in a more natural starter's role is probably better for him than entering in the 8th inning of a pressure-packed game. I am worried about him facing some tough lefties. That was always going to be a challenge for him. Hasn't gone incredibly well since he's been in the big leagues and didn't go over great facing the Guardians. Cal Raleigh's a switch hitter. He's going to be facing Melton from the left side. J.P. Crawford can swing the bat a little bit. The Mariners have some other switch hitters in that roster, in addition to Julio Rodriguez and Eugenio Suarez from the right side. But I think it's the left-handed hitters I'm worried about a little bit with Melton. But if you can get 3 to 4 strong innings from him, hand it over to the pen, you'd feel pretty good. The reality is you have entered the postseason with only 3 true starters, so you're never going to fully feel comfortable here. But Melton still has that upside, man. He came through with a big start toward the end of the regular season in Cleveland. Let's see if he can give you an outing like that again.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I was standing by the bullpen in Game 3, and I watched as Jack and crew walked onto the field, and then the relievers walk into the bullpen, and Melton seemed like a pretty chill, almost like a little goofy, kind of look to him, and like what I mean by that is he didn't really seem that bothered, and I mean that in a good way, flush it out.
He's SoCal, man.
Yeah, move on and look forward. So if you're looking for small things, that could be a potential small thing. But the guy that is going to kind of hold his fate a little bit, if you would, is one Dillon Dingler, and he is this week's DraftKings chart topper of the week. One of the underrated components of the game on Thursday, getting my days correct, is that you get the hometown element. Dillon Dingler hitting the home run. I'm in the stands, and this is before the home run, but it's like, hey, are we allowed to boo him? He's from Ohio, and I just kind of chimed in. I was like, yeah, and he went to Ohio State. Ever heard of it? So great for Dillon to have that moment in front of a lot of friends and family, I'm sure. And he's a guy that I just keep pounding the rock for to get a little bit greater measure of respect nationally. And this is an opportunity for him. And by the last time he was in Seattle, he was still the quote unquote backup catcher. Now it's his pitching rotation. It's his game. And so I'm just excited to see. I mean, Dillon Dingler, the guy, has he changed at all this year? It just seems like he's a pretty steady dude.
He's incredibly steady. Continue to hear comparisons to Lance Parrish, like the quiet gladiator, stoic, confident, but not really emotional, competitive, but not, rarely loses his temperament. I do think he's become more confident as this year has gone on, both in his play, just through experience, and his dealings with the media. He's both accessible, and he's just a little more confident in how he's conveying his thoughts and his words and talking about pitchers and what's happening in the game. You can tell this is someone who gets it, man. You can tell this is someone who's a pretty special dude. Like, again, I never expected him to hit this well, especially this early in his career. He's exceeded expectations there. And in other elements of his game, he's been everything the Tigers hoped he would be, and a little bit more, I would argue. I mean, he's one of the very best defensive catchers in the league. The stat that circulated this week, 5 guys in the history of baseball have caught 1,000 innings and not allowed a pass ball. 2 of them did it this year. One was Cal Raleigh. The other was Dillon Dingler. So I kind of wrote about that on The Athletic. Like, Raleigh's not the only catcher to watch in this series. Not trying to compare Cal Raleigh and Dillon Dingler. I'm sure I'll get a snarky comment or two at the bottom of that article, like, how silly is this? Raleigh hit 60 home. Not saying he's Cal Raleigh. I'm just saying he's a very good catcher. Yeah. The only other catcher outside Raleigh to be worth more WAR by Fangraphs measure was Alejandro Kirk. Only 4 guys spent more innings behind the plate. Dillon Dingler in his first full season started 113 games behind the plate, played 118 games behind the plate, played 12 of the Tigers' final 13 games before clinching behind the plate. They have asked a lot of him, and he has delivered, really in any way you could want.
Look, man, he threw out Jose Ramirez on a breaking ball. Now, it was set up well outside and all that stuff, but I'm just saying, that's stepping up to the moment, that's skill and that's ability right there. So Dillon Dingler is our chart topper of the week, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code FOUL, bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets if this bet wins. One of the bets you could do is Dillon Dingler to have 2+ hits in Saturday's game. Dillon Dingler is a 500 hitter against the Mariners this year, Cody, and fun fact, his first 3-hit game was that March 31st game against Seattle in that park. First 3-hit game of his career. And the last time I was kind of hoping they were going to make Logan Gilbert the starter, but he did have a double and a single in a game against Seattle on July 13th. This was in Detroit against Logan Gilbert. So he does have somewhat of a track record here. So 2+ hits, you can get that at +448. Use code FOUL, and you can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if the bet wins. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. October baseball is here. The pressure's on, the lights are brighter, and with DraftKings Sportsbook, you're right there in the middle of every moonshot moment. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the intensity of October with player props, live in-game betting, and odds that can change as fast as the ball flying over the fence. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get paid out $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use this, and you should too. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FOUL. It's code FOUL to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum -500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
All right, coming back here. I did want to broach this topic a little bit, Cody, to see if there's any validity to it. And that's what we're seeing, in a way, kind of like the maturation of Kerry Carpenter. So Kerry Carpenter, I went back and I watched the TV copy of key moments from the series, and one of the things that just kept I didn't go in looking for this, but one of the things that kept standing out to me was how emotional and overt he was, especially during Game 3, but throughout the series. He gets the walk after kind of campaigning for the foul tip there, and he's doing this circular motion with his hand to the dugout, let's go, kind of firing him up a little bit. And then he was the first one to jump. Speaking of Dillon Dingler, he was the first one to jump over the railing in celebration with the Dingler home run. So we were dealing with a little background noise. That's okay. We'll let it roll. he like I said, jumped over the railing, first guy, first hype. And then when Riley Green had that single in the 7th RBI single, he was the tallest on the dugout steps, hyping him up. And that's not even to say what happened after he scored a run as well. And I also think he might have been the fastest out of the dugout during the celebration. Then he says some things like, everyone talks about 15 and a half, but we're going to Seattle and they're not. I was like, dang, Kerry. Like I didn't know you had that in your bag to just kind of, throw it out there like that. So I don't know, man. I don't know if this is, in addition to playing well, obviously, I don't know if this is something, but maybe this is a new era of Kerry Carpenter. Maybe he's Daddy Carp now. He's a father. He's a little bit more assertive. Fatherhood changes you, I'm guessing. So maybe this is the new Kerry.
A couple Budweisers change you too. I don't know for sure if Kerry drinks, but pretty sure he had a little pop in his hand. So, the quotes start to become a little bit more spicy after that. Helps when you win. But no, I do think it was good to see that from Kerry, a little confidence, a little swagger. And he's been playing with a little confidence and a little swagger. I think he knows, he's like a figure in the Tigers-Guardians rivalry now.
Yeah,
loudest the homer off Clase, the Cade Smith homer this season, and even a couple big moments in the ALDS. So, I don't know if it's a new Kerry, but a little bit of a matured Kerry, a more, like all these guys, a more confident Kerry. I do think going through, someone asked AJ Hinch today, is going through the losing stride, did it harden this team? I mean, I think it did. Maybe in ways good and bad. Maybe not all good. Some of these guys were under a lot of pressure. Riley Green. But that's some growing up. That's a growing up experience. And these guys have a lot of winning experience under their belts now, too. So when we talk about a lot of these guys, I just think in very subtle ways, you're starting to see some growing up.
That's a good way to put it. All these subtle ways. It is kind of, they are growing in front of our eyes in very real ways. And specific to Kerry, we talk a lot about, on air and off air, kind of like this vacuum of who's going to kind of be an emotional leader, who's going to be kind of willing to just kind of say stuff that everybody just needs to hear, and not even controversial things, but statements like that. I'm sure everybody felt that, but Kerry's the one that said it. So who knows? Maybe this is one of those other small things that could lead to big things, but keep an eye out. I'm asking everybody, keep an eye out on the enthusiasm of Kerry Carpenter, because I do believe that's a real thing, and it did contribute to winning in Cleveland. We'll see if it does in Seattle. All right,
Troy Melton. I asked Troy Melton today. Start of the year in Erie. Did you think he'd be starting a playoff game? He basically said, yeah.
I like that.
He was like, that's always how I won my year to go. He said, I definitely didn't want it to end staying in Erie. So, I mean, I guess that's obvious, right? Everyone would feel that way, but he kind of came out and said it. And I was like, I like it. I like it, Troy. I know you're SoCal chill, but hey, a little confidence.
Hey, these things connected. These things are related, and I'm always down whenever guys aren't doing the cliche things oh, I don't know. No, I expected that. So anyway, we will have a post-game reaction show Saturday and Sunday, and then obviously throughout the series. But keep tabs on your feeds this weekend, because we will be in there. We're excited to talk about these games with you guys, and we appreciate everyone who follows us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Cody Stavenhagen. I'm at Kieran_Steckley. Pod page at Tiger Territory _ TigerTerritoryShop.com to get your merch. Thank you to anybody who has purchased something from our store. And then also YouTube, Apple, Spotify. You guys know the drill. You guys know what to do. We appreciate all of you. So for Cody Stavenhagen, I'm Kieran Steckley. Everybody have a great day.